item on the agenda is the review of the January 17th. You want to do one at a time or both, Shar?
You can do one for both.
Oh, so January 17, 2020 and September 18, 2020 minutes. We need to approve those minutes. Is there any discussion or a motion for that? Anybody? Make sure you're not on mute if you're trying to make a motion.
I'm happy to approve the minutes as I declared them. I will also say there's some background noise. I don't know if it's somebody that's not on mute, if we're getting some cross stuff.
So if you're not talking, put it on mute. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think there is an issue with the September 18th. I was not listed in the
being present.
Yeah.
Okay, with that addendum, then adding you to being present, is there a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Thank you, John. Who seconded?
Hey, Nathan.
Nathan. Thank you, Nathan. All in favor? I guess more importantly, anyone opposed? Okay, crickets. Good.
Be a long meeting.
The item number 2 is to elect the chair and vice chair for 21.
Barry was the vice chair this year, so I guess we were kind of hoping to see him to see if he would be interested in taking over as the chair. So I don't know if you want to wait on this item and we can reach out to them if they don't pop into the meeting. Yes, last year was an odd year, so we didn't really push a lot of the terms and stuff like that. I can just quickly go over those so we know where we stand. So Cass Barney's second term ended in July of last year, but she agreed to, stay on through the year, and she's already said she'll continue to be a friend of the Arts Council, and I'm sure she'll work on committees or special projects as she has in the past. Dave, your first term ends May of 2021, so we have you, and then we could reappoint you as well. Nathan's first term ends January of 2024, so he's with us for a good long time. Cindy, your second term ends February 2021. We can extend if people are interested in getting that COVID year back, but we don't know what everybody's schedule is. Cody Clark also ending his second term February 2021. Bart Francis is...
Did you say second term for him?
For Cody Clark?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the max for term?
I mean, if there's good reason to extend, I think we can certainly use that option.
Is a world pandemic a good reason?
I feel like it is.
Okay.
Bart's term expired last year, but we, just kind of where we were in a little bit of a dormant mode for meetings, we will connect with him. Adam and Cody Hale, of course, are with us forever and ever, which we're grateful for. Barry's second term ends August 2023, so he's scheduled to be with us this year, of course. Carol's term ended in 2020. Kate, your second term is coming up February 2021, so we need to press you into more service as well. Nancy Peterson has renewed, so her second term will end in January 2024. John Reinhard, his second term will end in August 2023. So we may have some extensions or reappointments and some potential new slots to fill. And I can go to Pete in the city manager's office and see who's applied for Arts Council, or if there are any folks that you've been talking to or anything like that. But that's where we are.
So Shar, is in the extension, would that be a 1-year extension?
We could go 1 year, or we could reappoint. We could consider reappointing for longer. It just kind of depends on what works with the schedule of the member.
Well, I think if I remember, there were 3 that are coming up in February. Are all 3 present?
Cindy and Kate are here, but Cody Clark is not. I don't see him in the group.
So my question is, Cindy and Cody, would you be interested in another year because of this weird year that we haven't had? Extending your term to not to this February, but the following February.
That would be okay, but I've done 2 terms already, so that would be a 3rd term if I extended, but I think maybe I could do it just because of COVID and we haven't met, and then just do it till next February.
Kate, how are you feeling about it?
Yeah, I could do that as well.
Okay.
So
Sounds awesome.
it's really just an extension of the 2nd term, right, Shar?
I think so. I mean, we have a lot of commissions in the same boat because we didn't really have a lot of in-person or even Zoom meetings last year. So, and I mean, we have some things coming online that people have been working on for a long time. So it could be a really great year to just have one last cap on some things we've been doing. So I will check with some of the other folks who aren't joining us today and see where they are and let you know.
See you later.
But John and Barry are both in it to win it. Nancy Peterson has been reappointed. Let's see, Dave, your first term will end in May 2021, so you would then be either asked if you'd like to reappoint or however you'd like to handle that. But
Is that a now or in May for the ending in May?
May 2021, so it'd be considered after that. So you see what Dave's feeling like in May 2021. But
Well, unless something happens, I'd go for another year.
yay!
Good. Well, I think obviously the most relevance that this has is that, you know, if all of these great people are willing to stay on for at least another year, then they could also be a good chair for this year. So I think it's important, whether we ratify it in February and May respectively, that's fine too, but that puts their names in the hat, which is good. So maybe we don't need to talk about extending until well, we don't meet in February, do we?
No.
So do we need to make a motion to extend those 3? Two have said yes, 1 if they're willing, from February 21 to 22.
We'll just take it to the council. It just goes in the council calendar. But you certainly could. Do we want to use Barry's vice chair status to obligate him to his chairman, to see him ascend to the throne, so to speak? So then we would.
His term's still good?
Yes, he's good. His second term will end August 2023, so he's here with us.
Do we need to text him or something and see if he's willing to do that?
Yeah, we can follow up with that.
I do feel like that's what we talked about when he became vice president. I think we had that conversation, like, you will be in line, so.
Well, let's just text him and then we'll push this number 2 to the end if we can.
Okay.
And then we can come back to number 2. So number 3 is utility box art update. Who is that?
Well, I would have thought it would be John Reinhardt, but I can tell you what I know. So, John worked diligently last year to move things forward. He waited quite a while for some availability from our public works staff, and I think they did a great job when they could work it in. They did have a little challenge. I think the UV layer was forgotten on that particular box. So we'll see how that goes. We may have to have them fix that over time.
Which box was that?
It's the one up on, it's further south on 4th East. Nate Prescott was the artist. It's
on 8th South and 4th East?
Yes. It's a black and white image.
That's awesome.
So that one, my only concern with it is one, there's Perry.
Sorry, guys. I took my son to a vaccine clinic. He got an appointment at 11:15 and just walked in the door. So.
Oh, you're awesome. Adam has been filling in.
Oh, so I guess, well, Adam, you're doing a great job. I'm here to support you.
You take over. We're talking about utility boxes, which the one by the Shell is awesome. I did have a question about that. I don't know who to direct it to, but is there a possibility of working with Cass and finding a image that would be complementary to that image and doing the other half of that cabinet?
Yeah, I talked to Cass about that because it takes away from the image to have the other side of the box look kind of scabby. And the particulars of that box, there's a lot of vents right there. And with Cass's work, we didn't want to vent into people's faces because her characters are so strong in the face right there. But what we need to do, and I think we need to do it going forward, is pull some of the imagery or background or hues of the dominant painting, for lack of a better word, and replicate that somehow into an image that can be reproduced for the side. So we do need to do that. I've talked to her about it. That can be done with a little bit of, design wizardry. People could pull the corner of, some of the corner element of it, and then just keep more like the muted background tones that are in that over those vent spaces, just so it isn't another character space with a lot of vent right in the middle of it. But we do need to do that. I've talked to her about it. She's on board, all for it. And we need to be mindful of it going forward because it does really detract from how good it could look if it's not finished on both sides. So we need to tackle that. Had we known that this week was going to have such great temperatures, we would have probably been able to move something forward. But what stalls us now is the temperature. So we have, honestly, I feel like the experience with the vendor, which was Sound Vision, was the way to go. It was inexpensive. They are responsible for their quality, and I think they did a great job. So I would just recommend that we just go forward with the vendor from now on. Relying on Public Works is very hard. They've had a lot of sign work that they've had to do. So I would probably just maybe focus on the vendor as long as that's a good option for us, and then we can get more scheduled and things like that. The CARE funding that we have for this particular public art is available to use on city boxes or in like the arts district for sure. The park property can be an extension of a facility that we can use it for. So we could go back and identify several more boxes to do with that money, and then get the art teed up. I will tell you that from the welcome Debbie, hi. That from the article that was out there, I've had a couple of people expressed interest. The city's not really having people join Zoom meetings outside of the commission. They kind of contribute comments in other ways. So I just told them that I would talk to the Arts Council and let them know. I think we have to, you know, if we want to accept donations, how do you guys think that you should select the art going forward? We can pay for determined, it's more of a stipend than you know, an outright, but then there is an agreement that lets us use the image in like social media and other things like that. So we have that legal agreement, and then the process of putting on the box is most temperature dependent right now. That's kind of the limiter right now, but we could certainly be all ready to go when the temperatures swing to the right level. And I can't quote what the temperature is anymore, but do we want to outline a process for people who want to participate in this? And I haven't gotten, you know, not knowing where we wanted to go, I didn't ask him, do you want to sell a piece of art for it? Do you want to donate a piece of art for it? Do you want to spearhead collecting art? Do you want to work with businesses? You know, I didn't get all of their information, but I do have their emails, and I will follow up with them. You know, if we create a committee that is not just made of Arts Council members, you know, people can always serve on a strategic committee that you're hosting, kind of a thing. I'm open for what you guys would like to do.
What kind of precedent have we set so far in terms of with Cassie and the other artist? Did they both donate them?
Yeah. Cass donated, and Nate donated. He's a city employee, so it would be a little bit challenging, I think, to negotiate separately. But he was happy to do that because that was part of a capstone project for his education. And we've paid Just Mark Smiley for some, was it a specific image? Could you remind me, Cindy?
Are you able to, she just typed something and it disappeared from my phone. Are you able to see what she typed?
He did a design for all four corners of a box that he gave us last year. So it's got the four corners, and it was real simple. Remember, it went from each time it came to a corner, the figure changed colors. I'll see if I can find it and I'll share it.
I might have it too. I can get
But he donated it, Cindy?
We paid him.
He's really sick and needed some money, but we already have it, so it's already done.
What would be a payment that we, you know, a range of what we would pay for art if we were going to pay, if somebody did not want to donate it?
I think the absolute max would be $400, and it's just, you know, an honorarium sort of a thing.
Right. And what do we pay the vendor to actually print and install the paintings? I missed the beginning.
We paid Sound Vision $310, but I'm not sure that I'm not sure that all vendors and all box owners want the door side covered. So that is possibly a box by box determination, but they've definitely suggested that please don't try to mess with the doors. Yeah. I think we'll get a lot easier system if we agree not to do the door side.
Sure. Can I share the screen? I've got Jesse's picture.
Sharon, do you know how to do that?
Oh, I just did it. Can you see that?
Oh yeah, that was cute.
That's a fun one. I think that would be fun.
Yeah, that's great.
Let's definitely do that one.
I did want you to know, you know, with the one Utopia box there is right next to the gate that we use most frequently at the Shell. and lots of folks walking through the park have made comments about it, and so for whoever needs that feedback, it's been well received. I think people really like it.
Yeah, I think generally it's been really well received, and people are excited for more. So the challenge is, of course, to spend out our care money, look at our options if there are additional projects that could be care funded for now or down the road, an application now or down the road. And then we start working with businesses who are box adjacent. We talked about them sponsoring boxes. The Utopia box was, so John did all the box discussion with them, and they wanted to have that done as a one-time box. I when I got the agreement, I said, can we do this as a larger memorandum of understanding? Because that's typically, we do more of a blanket and then work with someone on a site-specific issue, but the way he and Utopia had worked it out, it was for a one-time. So now we need to go back and either do another agreement for another box or see if we can expand it into a more blanket memorandum of understanding between the two entities with more specific interaction per box. For everyone's just kind of housekeeping record, it's really helpful if we can send official city agreements and things like that through the staff rather than going directly to the department, like going to Public Works or going to legal, because then when it dead ends in that department, I have no knowledge of it, so it's kind of, hard to rebuild it. So if we have agreements or purchases that we are considering, if you would bring it through our staff, Sharon and I are here to help with those kind of things. And then just as a reminder, we want to help buy things for the Arts Council rather than have you buy it on your credit card and seek a reimbursement. So all those kind of things are just very minor housekeeping things, but as we go forward, it would help, speed up the work, I think.
Hey. What's up?
Not much. Are
Sure, can I ask
Is
a
there an area
question?
that have to stop by?
The only thought I had or
Yeah.
feedback I had was,
Good, how's that?
it would be really awesome if we could just even have a circle
Yeah.
that said something like this project was, by the Orem Arts Council, maybe even the name of the artist and the name of the piece, if there's a name for the piece, and then, funded by Orem Care Program or something. I think if it had those few things, it would give credit to the group doing it, the money that paid for it, and the artist that did it. And I think that, and that could even be an additional vinyl sticker that we put on after the fact, or it could be incorporated into the artwork, I guess, but
Or maybe
that was just a
we go on
suggestion.
the door side. If the door side's not something they want to see covered in total, maybe there could be a sticker, on that side if people, walked around inside, or we could try and do, a side or front more plaque or circle type thing. We can definitely look at a couple of options for that.
Because I think people would like to know that that's Cass Barney, for example, and if she has a name to the piece, or then they could follow her on other, other things, or get more interest for the artist. And this is one of the things that Arts Council's wanted forever in terms of, recognition for our efforts. So
Yeah.
I think if we could do that, we could just add something after the fact to the two that are done, and then incorporate the others. Anyway, that was the
And we
only.
also want to have the ability to promote them, like driving around town, pay attention here, stop at this, vantage point and look at this art by Cass Marley or Cass Barney or Just Smart Smiley, and those kind of things will help us.
Yeah.
Well, and as we get more and more and more, we could have a whole scavenger hunt type checklist that the library hands out to people, that they would go search for and see all of them, or take their picture by all of them, or there's some fun interactive things that could be done as we get more of a collection.
I do think that, as a staff fielding questions, I need to know who or what group is going to respond to the art. We're not necessarily artists ourselves. We love art, but I don't know how to give someone the criteria for what art will be selected. Are we doing an open call based on we want to do X number of boxes? Can you guys give me some guidelines of what you'd like to see us flesh out in terms of program details for?
So this is Debbie. What is our dollar amount we want to get from CARE? Because I think if you say $5,000, then you just engineer it back, right? If you say we're going to pay $400 to the artist, it's going to cost $300, then that tells us how many we can do. If you don't know, I mean, I guess for me, CARE's coming up in the next few months. We kind of need to have a plan, and I want to pay artists because I know that they're hurting too.
So we have $4,400 left to spend, and the cost of the box will the cost and complexity of the install may range a little bit. So I wouldn't leave it at fixed for $300, but I think that if you're paying for art, you'd probably just look at $1,000 per box and then roll the excess back into the program just to cover our concerns. Because I don't know, Debbie, if you heard us talk about the box on over by the Shell with featuring Cass's beautiful work. It's unfinished because the box next to it is kind of unfinished and not as representative. And because that one has a lot of vents, we didn't want to put another character face right there to have all the vents go through. But we need to manipulate the back elements of her drawing and just finish the side of the box so it doesn't detract from the beautiful piece. So some of the boxes may have more than one fronts or faces depending on the side by side. So we need to kind of consider a box by box experience, and if we budgeted say $1,000 per box, that might give us the wiggle room to do that. And then the limitation with CARE is that CARE cannot be used by the city of Orem for a program. So we are limited to using it, and I'm sorry that you guys are limited by being with us. Some places are not. But to the facility element of it. So the boxes that are in cultural or recreational facilities, such as parks, the arts district, I think we were able to, make that argument that the arts district is an arts facility in and of itself. So those are the locations where we can spend CARE money. Locations like University Parkway that the city doesn't own and other things like that, those are going to have to be the ones where we raise some private money to do it. I think we can move down that path. I think a few more examples with our 4,400 will help us move down that path, because then we'll have more of a portfolio that we can show some range or different things like that. I think would be good. So we don't want to, make everyone think that we can do everything all at once. I don't know if you want to buy X number of pieces of art now, so you do a call for art, or how exactly you as artists would recommend doing that so we don't step on kind of people's expectations in the process. But we want to get some projects teed up. That's what we got to do, so that when the weather is gone or when the weather changes, the projects go quickly. Because that we just wasted way too much time trying to, work through. And Public Works is great, but I think that we've had to, and we prefer the vendor option at this point just for the speed.
So help me understand. Is the $4,400 still available?
Yes.
So we could, let's just say that would be 4 boxes if we do 1,000 a box. And then what do you want to ask for going
That second
forward?
side of Cassie's too. We'll get that. That'll be job number 1. As soon as we'll go back, we'll get the background image, the complementary image. I'll just say that the complementary image designed with Cass's approval. She knows we need to do it. I know we'll get that one to Sound Vision, so that it's ready to go. So let's do 4 boxes beyond that, and then that will be a good spend out of our money potentially. If there's anything left over, we can always do more.
And then
Okay,
number
so-
2 is the project Cindy shared, right? Is that the next
but
one?
I
you
believe
do?
Jess has already been paid, so we just need the install on that one. So we'll do that one. We'll install Jess's piece.
I
It
think
sounds
if
like-
we showed a picture of the boxes we had and did a call, I mean, there's no commitment to do them right this moment. It might be a year worth of rollout or 2 years worth of rollout, but I think if we showed some of those and had a little subcommittee, I'd be willing to be on that committee. I liked your recommendation of keeping Cass involved and being on that committee. I think we should ask her to do that too. Those are my 2 cents.
Yeah.
Well, and I like Cindy on there too, because she's also an artist. I like to have people who are real trained artists as well
Sure,
as
I-
lay people.
I think anyone from the Arts Council could certainly join in that. Cass is also willing, I think, to help with projects. Maybe Nate Prescott, just because he works with businesses now, and he could be a good ambassador for helping us get that out to businesses who are maybe inquiring about things they can do to generate more traffic or to improve the look or something like that. So helping Nate stay connected to the program might be a good idea in my opinion, but
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. So it sounds like we need try to get 3 more artist renderings of some sort in the next, 4 to 6 months to call for art. What do you think about that?
I think that we should do a limited call this year so that you have selections that you can look at, and probably there could be some different types of art for different types of boxes, for lack of a better word, because if it was necessarily something that was more design element and didn't detract as much from the piece, you could probably use it on an art or on a box that had more vents, those kind of things. I think faces are just a little different maybe than some other elements that could be in the paintings or in the pieces. So
Well, that seems reasonable. It seems like you could look at the art and then find the box that makes sense based on that artwork. That seems like reasonable. So my last question is, are you going to ask for more than the 4,400 going forward? Or what's the ask going to be this year?
I think 5,000 for a couple of years might really help us make it more impactful, because just to use it in as many areas as we can. I mean, we want it to be in visible areas, but if there are, park boxes that have the ability to qualify for care funding, then getting it out in the community, I think is our goal. So
5,000 seems reasonable, and I'll talk to Councilman Jeff Lamson, who I don't know if he's still going to be on CARE, but I think he'd be very happy to support that.
And then Cindy had worked with the state, and they didn't happen to have the funding this year because of COVID, but they had some interest in, really seeing that around the schools and other things like that. And I do think that anything that's uplifting, in schools and other public areas is certainly a worthwhile community goal for us to be working towards. So we will, I need to, I still got to find the expert. Is there a utility box inventory out there? Maybe John has done more legwork on that. But that's really where the behind the scenes can go, and then we just need to advertise probably a short window of call for artists
I think Cass might have it, Char. At one point, she and I went around a lot of the arts district and identified all the boxes in the arts district.
Okay, so we'll get the inventory put together, and I'll try and see if there's some tech
We can do it again.
that on like a shared drive where we would have more ability to kind of drop in things like ownership and all of that, and then we could get it on a schedule. So we'll, I'll work on the inventory, and then maybe February we open the call. That sounds like a good time. And then we will look towards a $5,000 care request.
That sounds great.
Yeah, I think if we could put together, maybe, I don't know if we can do that on social media or whatever, put together a picture of the boxes that we have and along with the call and, you know, and we could say these are boxes that'll go up over the next couple of years. You could get a good inventory and then pay for them as they, as we can install them. Do we pay for them up front?
I don't think we would traditionally do that. I mean, because you're not owning the right to the image except in the use of the box. You know, some art, you know, we negotiate different things. I mean, the city doesn't own a lot of art, but like we negotiate different things, like the ability to be able to use pieces of the art in, you know, say if we wanted to make a vinyl or something out of it. But this is pretty limited because they're not selling you the rights to the image outside of the use of the box.
Yeah, they're not selling you a painting.
Yeah.
Right. But would you pay the $400 stipend when you selected the art as a, let them know that, you know?
I don't.
Or do you wait till you have a contract?
Well, I think that you pay when you have a contract, but when you guys want to do that contract, I don't know.
I think that it would be when we identify the box and we get it on the schedule, then you would go back and say, you know, we've selected your art to put on a box and it'll be happening this time, and then you pay for the right to use the art. That's the way I would do it.
Just for those who aren't on the chat, Cindy is offering to donate some art, and you are an amazing artist, Cindy. I love all of your work, so we will look.
Oh, I agree. I second that. I love her stuff.
And then Kate also had some good suggestions for adding things to the app Popwall. So we'll, or other apps too. So there could be other opportunities for engagement there as well.
Sounds like a great idea. Good suggestions.
So the only other thing that I have about public art is a gentleman is very interested in spearheading something at the new fitness center, and he's approaching the Arts Council for it. But I think that given the physicality of the decision making with that, we need some of the facility side to be decided or considered or something like that before the art side of it comes in. I had heard some things about maybe more changeable art, whether that's done with vinyl or some additional means. So he's very interested in having murals on some of the walls, and murals are amazing, but they can be hard to maintain, and murals have to have a real high level of professionalism and design, because we've seen great murals in the city of Orem, like the one down at Al's Sporting Goods is brand new, so people are pointing at that one, and that one is great. And then we've seen murals that have had they need more pop, they need more design, and so I don't suggest that the Arts Council really get too focused on that until the facility decisions could be considered, because it's still under builder control. I think they want to support art on, you know, those kind of space and campuses, but the idea of doing a kind of semi-permanent mural on the wall right now is probably not what they're looking at. They were looking at more opportunities to feature more art in different ways. So I don't have exactly the timeline for that because they're trying to get the building finished, and then they would have more ideas about costs and other things like that. I'm not denying that it's great to put art in those kind of scenarios. I'm just saying that I don't know that's in our control to do that. So I've let the gentleman know that I will forward the information to others, but I don't have any kind of, I don't think we have the authority right now to say anything about a building that is still owned by the contractor, technically, very technically. And they've just got to get through the build before I think they're mentally ready to consider different things with us.
What's the finish date on the fitness center?
They're hoping for March. I don't think they've declared a date, but they're hoping March 2021. So
Are realizing that we're all still, hiding from COVID, but are we going to get an opportunity to tour the new auditorium there at the city center?
Yeah, I can totally give you an update on the auditorium. Let me see where I am on the agenda. Let's quickly go to the summer concert series, and then I'll do a quick update, and then you can circle back around to item number 2, chair and vice chair. So the summer concert series, I think you're all pretty aware that it turned out okay last year. We asked people that we knew in case we had to pull the plug, and everybody was really generous and kind to work with us. It was a fun year in that, it was something great to do on any given Monday night, and it was an option. I think that having the option to come out and do something, especially in a lovely outdoor setting, is always a great thing. We haven't heard much from the state, but we've worked with the city in the past to say, we advertise for the event in advance of the state money coming through, and we want to offer it, so they'll work with us. The city will work with us for sure. Is there anything about the Summer Concert Series 2021 that you would deviate from previous Summer Concert Series? Anything you need us to consider change-wise? Or are we just going down the path of offering Monday night concerts starting July, I guess it would be July 5th. That's going to be an observed holiday, I think, although you could have some activities for the 4th going on the 3rd as well. So you'd have to say if you want us to go on July 5th. But 5th, 12th, 19th, 26th of July, and then probably the 1st and possibly the 8th of August. And Geezer Fest is asked to come back and be kind of like the finale piece. I'm not sure if it'll come back under the name Geezer Fest because there's been some discussions among leadership as to who's owning the rights to Geezer Fest, and that doesn't involve us. But is there anything you guys want us to change, or we should just proceed with the calendaring of the same event that we've done? With different events, of course.
Yeah, I thought that last summer was, even with the COVID, was fine. Was able to go and participate in a couple of those, and I think that that's the way we go down that road. I don't know what you would change. I would hope that by that point, maybe we'll be back to a little bit of normalcy around here, and that's the way I would go approach it. It's just as we've done in the past.
Was everyone okay with the Summerfest being part of Geezer Fest? Because we'll be meeting next week, and I wanted to portray if that's something that was positive. I got good feedback, but did anyone else get good feedback on that being in combination with Summerfest?
Yeah, I mean, it was an unusual year for Summerfest. So Summerfest is not normally extending into August, but I think that I think that people enjoyed it, as far as I know.
Yeah, the people that I talked to did. I just want to make sure that I've got the pulse of that, because I think we'll know after next Wednesday whether we're going to do a Summerfest light or try to go back to our June. I
I don't think we know yet. I think that's something we're gonna have to flesh out with the committee. But if you guys are okay, we can say if they go with the August date for Summerfest, that we would piggyback Geezer Fest. If they go with the June date, then obviously we would not. Is everyone okay with that?
Yes.
Good.
Okay.
Okay, well, we'll advertise the call for artists earlier this year then, because we just didn't know last year if we were gonna be able to have the event, so we kind of put it together without the big call for artists, because we didn't want to have everyone do all this effort and then to pull the plug. But the people that we worked with were great. A lot of Dave and Nancy's contacts and other people that we know in the community, and I thought it was a really fun variety and different things. So we'll continue to do that.
When do we usually send out the call for, people?
April, May. We usually send it out in May.
So by then, we'll probably, maybe, know what's going to happen in the summer.
Yeah. Our challenge is always the overlap between the June event, which we kind of organize some entertainment on the stage, and then the July series, which is a grant-funded contract. So we don't pay for people to come to the Summerfest. It's more community-based, and so we didn't have the opportunity to do that Summerfest last year, but there's always which one are you applying for? You made sure you were applying for this one, and then we reach back if we didn't happen to have slots or people expected payment but applied for the Summerfest. We do try to reach back and pull them forward and give as many options as we can for the selection group to look at. But we didn't do that last year because it was a kind of a minute-by-minute decision, and there was a lot of hullabaloo as to what we'd have to do for the health department, and I don't expect to have to do a lot of that same stuff because people just didn't have that same concern. It was outdoors. They distanced themselves from others in the audience. The groups took it upon themselves to assume the risk. So, groups might have some concerns going forward as well, but I hope they all got through without, giving anything to each other. But I think the audience was perfectly safe. Anything else on that one? Library Hall, the auditorium, I can tell you where we are. So we had some key staff change at the construction level, and I will think that it contributed to some of our stall and some of our challenges out there. We had some of the finished work has been delayed. Some of the finished work was done poorly and had to be redone. We're still dealing with some ramifications there. And then we had some design issues that have caused us to need to modify the curtain system. The curtains are probably the last piece that we are going to really be waiting for. It's functional without the curtains, but it's frustrating not to be able to have every bit of it completed at the same time. Some of the curtain components that we needed to tweak or adjust are coming out of LA County. LA County has been very hard hit, so some of their businesses have been shut down. We just passed the fire inspection for the hall, which is a major step in getting towards temporary occupancy. They had to change some egress routes, and those are all illuminated signs and other things. So the holidays were really a hard time to get contractors. COVID has also been an issue, but we are still rounding third. You're welcome to come over and see the facility anytime, but we do wish you could see it when it's clean. The contractor owes us the final cleaning. They will do one last polish on the cement floor before we open it to the public. When we had hoped that we were going to have a ribbon cutting, we borrowed some art from Cass and her sister Emily McPhee, and then some prints from her dad, and so we hung it up to take the art gallery hanging system for a test drive, and then we took it right down so that it wouldn't get any kind of dust or paint or anything on it. Cass's piece that she did as a special piece for the hall is installed and it's draped to make sure it doesn't get any damage on it. So we're looking very forward to the time when people can be in that facility. It is an active construction site until we have more occupancy, but I think, you know, I hope we're getting closer and closer. We've had the sound people out, we had the need to move some fire strobes and some speakers to deal with the curtain issue, and so there's been a few of those cascading elements, but it's coming together. We'll be happy when we can show it to you guys. We'll be happy when we can use it. It'll look a lot like other audience situations, which is reduced capacity, every other row perhaps, you know, several feet between household parties. So there's always a management component that Adam and Cody will tell you they've been managing it all year and into this year, and will continue to manage it into, you know, the future. So the opportunities still need to be there, I think, for people, and we've appreciated what both of those entities have continued to offer the community over the last time and the last bit of time, and the quality's still been there, and so it's been a slow project to bring to fruition for absolute sure, but we're getting there.
Do you have a timetable? Are you thinking by March?
For ribbon cutting, they didn't opt to schedule a ribbon cutting just yet on the February council meeting, so could be March. Just kind of working with the agenda planning group to see about that. Still, I don't have a date. Thanks, Cindy. The landscaping out there does make it feel more plaza-y, and the Christmas lights were still hopefully enjoyed. My only frustration with the holiday season was the lights were so vibrant and we didn't have art hung into the area where you could see from State Street, so it felt kind of vanilla bland on that wall, but we will hopefully put some great things up to showcase art there, and it won't be vanilla bland forever, but it was a good, I think it was a good inviting move to do more of a feel out there. Thanks, Kate. Appreciate it. So then I guess if you guys want to revisit number 2, chair and vice chair, Barry.
Do we have a quorum on this?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's close. It's close to a quorum. Sharon, do I need to wait?
You're good.
Oh, she says we're good. We're good. So just to recap, before you came in, Barry, everyone kind of felt like you were ready to take over the chair spot.
I figured I'd get thrown under the bus if I didn't get to the beginning of this meeting.
Well, you're under there anyway, so.
Oh, I think Nathan would be great at this.
Who was last year's vice chair? Who was the vice chair?
Nobody we know.
It was Barry Merrill.
I think the natural progression is that the vice chair moves to the chair and then we get a new vice chair, but that's just my logical thinking.
All in favor?
Boy, you guys are really scraping the bottom of the barrel at this thing. I'm just here for comic relief. That's the way I play in this committee here.
So,
No, I don't think so.
That was for Barry as the chair. Who are you putting up for vice chair?
I heard him say Nathan.
Are you good with that, Nathan?
Yes, I'd be good with that.
Okay, so one more vote for Nathan as the vice chair.
I'll second that.
Looks like everybody's in favor. that's all we had. So is there anything else that you guys wanted to bring up?
Not that I know of.
The Orem Stories project thing, because of COVID, we haven't done this year. And so, Adam mentioned that the library would like to have student artwork just in the library section, because they'll have the art show, you know, the traveling art show will be in the art gallery. And so I've tried to reach out to the teachers, and I haven't heard back yet from Anna Davis. Cassie's teaching at Orem High, and she said she'd be interested in having some of her students work there. But so far, the elementary teachers are so swamped with COVID and everything they're doing that we might need to wait until maybe next fall to get something for them. But we might be able to get some high school artwork in there, but I haven't gotten firm answer yet from anybody.
And we did also have someone say, could you do like a best of kids artwork from home, like a best from home show kind of a thing? Because kids during quarantine made a lot of art, and that's definitely a direction that the children's librarian wanted to take that space in. So you could advertise that just as soon as we can move the art over to the hall, and we could have that for sure.
Okay. Yep, and I'd be glad to help hang that up.
This way we can use the art system. So
That sounds like a great idea.
Won't always have to go to the windows, but so that'll be a good thing to look forward to as well.
Just gonna walk down and come back.
Well, I think that's all we have.
Quite yet.
And a motion that we end this meeting?
I'll second that.
Looks like everybody's ready to end it.
All in favor, aye. Bye.
Aye.
Thanks so much. We'll send out some follow-up emails on
Thanks for everyone's help.
the box and other things, the box art and other things.
Okay.
Appreciate you. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.